Yes, Graham Norton kept us entertained at the BAFTAs last night. Tonight, he's joined by Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson and John Malkovich at 11:30 on BBC One, right after another BBC favourite, enjoying BAFTA glory.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. I'm David Tennant. In the news this week, there's evidence that Britain's loneliest man is being just a little too judgmental on Tinder. In Glasgow, as Rangers are promoted back to the Premier League to play Celtic again, one group of workers calculate the effect on their overtime payments. And there's consternation in the Beckham household as the children's entertainer booked for Harper's 5th birthday blows out the candles. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian in his 20s who ends his blog with the words "wang out." As opposed to when he's on Snapchat, "wang out" is how he starts. Please welcome Phil Wang. And with Paul tonight is a journalist and broadcaster who says she's always complaining about her neighbour's leaf blower. It's a constant, infuriating racket, and the leaf blower's the only way to drown it out. Please welcome Janet Street Porter. So we start with the bigger stories of the week. Paul and Janet, take a look at this.
Yes, of course, this is the triumph of Foxes, Leicester City. There's
one of their fans?
Yeah, and that's...
Well, hang on, David Tennant, isn't that you?
I was Richard II, not Richard III.
Just being pedantic, I think. But you do rather resemble the statue of Richard III.
Really?
Yes.
I don't own a hat like that.
No. Haven't people said that Leicester City's good fortunes are coincide with the reburial?
Yeah, since he was dug up from the car park and buried in Leicester Cathedral when Leicester City were on the brink of relegation and now they've won the Premier League. And what has happened at the same time to the City of York?
They've been relegated.
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
They're claiming... Exactly. They're claiming Richard III should have been buried in York Minster.
Yes.
They lost the battle for Richard's remains and now
Yes.
York City have been relegated from the Football League altogether.
Oh, let's start the Battle of the Roses again.
Yeah. Is it true that Keith Vaz, the MP for Leicester, has not taken off his Leicester scarf since they won, and he's even worn it in the House of Commons?
Oh, filthy bastard.
He'll do anything to get it.
No, he asked a question.
Wearing the Leicester scarf.
Wearing the Leicester
How
scarf.
sad is that?
Would the Prime Minister agree that it's marvellous? And Cameron said, oh, yes, footy ball. He's got as much interest in the sport as I have. I'm not sure why it is exciting. Aren't they owned by incredibly rich oligarchs like everyone else?
I think they're owned by a Thai billionaire.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm considering this a win for Southeast Asia.
So it's not really a rags to riches story?
No.
It's more sort of riches to more riches.
Quite.
Well, that's heartwarming.
The captain's already writing his life story, isn't he? He sold it for a great deal of money.
And will there be a film?
Yes.
Are you in it, David?
Not yet.
Vardy. I only learnt his name yesterday. Vardy. I did a lot of work before this thing.
Did you? Yeah. Is that how you refer to this programme, this thing?
Yeah. I thought football's coming up. I really need to know my stuff. So I know why they won.
Yes.
4-4-2.
Oh, really?
Tell us about that, Ian. Tell us about 442.
Well, you've got,
Here we go.
10 players together.
Uh-huh.
4 of them are in one bit.
Yeah.
4 of them in another, and 2 right over there in another bit. The only thing I read about it that really interests me is that before the game, they have Buddhist monks who... I mean, this is probably a doping story. It's certainly cheating. The Buddhist monks come in and chant and pray for victory.
Yes.
And apparently it works.
It has.
Every time. I've got mine right here. There we go, guys. Om.
How tall are these people?
They're very small.
Very small.
They've also challenged conventional wisdom because they play most of the time without the ball.
What does that
Statistically.
mean?
It means they are statistically in possession for only 46% of the match.
The Buddhist monks just pray and then the ball floats in. It's a Thai technique. You wouldn't understand. I should say I'm not Thai. This is starting to get quite confusing.
I should say I'm not either.
I'm not, but I can be for a role. Actually not. How did the manager, Claudio Ranieri, win people over?
He went to see his mum.
His 96-year-old mum lives in Rome.
Yeah, he went straight to see his mum.
See her.
And
Yes.
have lunch with her.
Yes.
And share the good news with her.
Well, he's generally been incredibly nice and charming and won people over. He's never criticised referees or other managers, and at press conferences he went around the room shaking hands with every journalist present. But how had he been treated by the media last September?
Was that when he first joined them? I suppose
Yes.
they would have dragged up the memories of him being manager of Chelsea some 10 years before.
Well, he'd just been sacked
Oh, had he?
as manager of Greece.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
I'd take some doing.
It was following their defeat by the Faroe Islands, and he was called... he was called the worst manager in modern European football and was favourite to be the first manager of the season to be sacked. Finger on the pulse from the country's press there. How did Claudio Ranieri make his players pay attention to him?
Oh, didn't he do that dilly-dongy bell thing?
That's exactly it. He rings an imaginary bell and shouts, dilly-ding, dilly-dong. Which
Sounds
now-
like a Morris dancer.
Well, I think it's being entered for Eurovision this year. I'm sure you've all seen Leicester players celebrating at Jamie Vardy's house just after they became the champions. Let's have a look.
A measured response.
They say that the Premier League is overhyped these days and that people get too excited about it. So let's compare those Leicester players with some footage taken in the home of Lee Chapman from Leeds United and his teammates just minutes after they'd won the league title in 1992.
It's a champagne occasion, and we're in Boroughbridge in the home of Lee Chapman. Thanks for inviting us over here.
And they're wearing ties.
The celebrations in Leicester were widely reported. Steve Hurst went out to soak up the atmosphere with his Cocker Spaniel Daisy wearing a miniature Leicester kit. He said, she's got one of her own, but she's just had 9 pups and it's too tight, so she's wearing my granddaughter's. And of course, this story has allowed journalists to bring all their skills to bear by Googling famous people from Leicester. Whose name do you think appeared most often in the press reports, apart from Gary Lineker?
I saw a reference to Shawaddy Waddy.
Exactly, yes, indeed.
Fine, popular
Yeah.
band of the 30s. Who else?
Gok Wan.
Is he from Leicester?
Yes, he is. His dad owned a Chinese restaurant.
There you go.
You know, his real name is Wang, like mine, but he found it too embarrassing and took the G off.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. But, yeah, more for him, more for me. I'm getting that Wang dollar now.
I think Gary Lineker said he's going to present Match of the Day in his
Yes, I believe he
underwear.
has, too.
Oh, isn't he available now? He's just got divorced.
Janet. This is not loose women, you know.
I think David Cameron's encouraged him to do it, hasn't he?
Has he?
Yeah. Another question was asked in Parliament, and he said that he thought he should.
Right, I'm glad they're tackling the important issues.
Exactly. What has top Leicester butcher Keith Ashmore done as a tribute to his football team?
Spelt the names out in mince.
It's bound to be a sausage, isn't it?
Made from fox.
That'd
That'd be delicious,
That
wouldn't
would
it?
be lovely. He's actually introduced a range of blue sausages.
Blue sausages.
Yeah.
Oh, that is gross.
He should save his money and buy a better wig.
That's not actually Keith, that's a Telegraph journalist. He was going to give you a really good review after you said that.
He still ought to get a better wig.
Who has also got into trouble over his coloured sausage?
Is it a tartan sausage?
No. Top Devon butcher Paul
Why are
Kenyon.
they all top butchers? You want some of them struggling to make a living.
Middling Devon butcher,
Middling Devon butcher.
Yeah.
Paul Kenyon, who produced his
Yes.
own purple sausage as a tribute to Prince, who died recently.
Oh, God.
There you go. The animal rights group PETA have asked him to withdraw his sausage. They said Prince was a vegan and would never have wanted his name exploited to sell novelty sausages. I think we'd all aspire to having a novelty sausage, wouldn't we?
I've seen a few in my time. By the way, I've met Prince, and that sausage is about 10 times the size of what he had in his pants.
Do I have to remind you again, this is not loose women.
The body's not even cold, Janet.
No, it's cremated.
Just
I
like
think
some
it's
of
how
those
he would have liked
sausages.
to have been remembered, really.
Yes, this is the shock result that has turned even non-football fans like myself into experts. Leicester Rovers have won the Premier Division Cup. It's a wonderfully romantic story, and to think none of it would have happened if the previous manager hadn't left the club after his son was sacked for filming his mates having an orgy with local women in a Bangkok hotel room. One female hospital worker in Leicester is £50,000 better off after a bet was put on for her as a joke by her boss, a consultant plastic surgeon. And now, like so many of his patients, she can't wipe the smile off her face. Jamie Vardy once played for a local steelworkers team, Stocksbridge Park Steels, before he quit to pursue his ambition of becoming a Premiership footballer. It's an impossible dream. How will you feed your family? What about job security? Vardy warned the steelworkers as he left. Ian and Phil, take a look at this.
That's a degree. Swinging quite a long way to the right.
That's how big his head is in psychological terms.
He's won in Indiana.
All of his competitors have dropped out.
Yeah.
Cruise was crashed and burned. The last time a cruise sunk this badly, James Cameron made a film about it. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very kind. And that is the official Republican candidate. So it's possible he'll be the next President of the United States.
It felt like that was quite hard to get out.
I couldn't. I was about to say, and he's going to meet Prime Minister Johnson. To discuss being mad.
What happened to the online petition to keep him, to ban him from Britain?
I think the argument was that we should let him come over, listen to what he had to say, and then laugh. It's a more traditional British response. No, we need some freedom of speech. We've got to hear Trump's views, because they change minute to minute. You've no idea what he's going to say next. He doesn't either. I'm going to build a wall. Maybe I'm not. He actually ended one rally thanking the poorly educated for voting for him.
Yes, this is the news of another rank outsider as Trump triumphs in Indiana after rivals Ted Cruz and John Kasich pulled out of the race. Trump made a victory speech. We are going to start winning again, and we're going to win bigly. He said, dangerous lunatically. What record has Donald Trump now achieved?
Has he got the most delegates at this stage of the game?
No.
Most ex-wives.
Least credible hair ever?
Well, according to veteran Democratic pollster Peter Hart, he is the most unpopular nominee in the history of US opinion surveys. By a lot. What did Trump's rival Ted Cruz do immediately after conceding defeat?
Open up a delicatessen.
punched his wife in the face, didn't he?
Did he?
Not once, but twice.
What?
Let's have a look. I think we should see that again in slow motion.
Yeah.
Wallop! Bang! What is being sold at Donald Trump rallies that's causing particular offence?
Souls.
Anti-Hillary Clinton messages?
Yes. Do you know what they are?
Kill the bitch sort of thing. I'm quoting what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm not making him own myself.
That's pretty much it. Life's a bitch, don't vote for one.
And that is
Classic.
half the voters.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's got no women voting for him, no ethnic vote, but he keeps winning.
Who's not remotely bothered about what's happening in the US election build-up? It's Barack Obama. Let's have a look.
Yes.
Not my problem anymore. Who says elections aren't fun?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back home, the election results are in. Unfortunately, we happened yesterday, so we have no idea what they are. So let's talk about Labour's anti-Semitism problem, and how is that going for Jeremy Corbyn?
It's working a treat. Got a landslide. If you're watching the repeat and he didn't, he didn't. Alan Johnson was very funny. He said, there's no Labour problem that cannot be made worse by Ken Livingstone.
The number of Labour members suspended for anti-Semitism and racism since Corbyn took over as leader is now 18.
It's not good, is it?
Not great.
Doesn't that make him the best ever anti-Semite hunter? Every other, like, Miliband can find him.
Yeah.
Does Jeremy Corbyn know the keypad code to the door of his constituency office?
No.
No, there's footage of him, isn't
Yes,
there?
because him going in would not be news.
Yes, quite.
It's
So getting it
stuck
wrong.
in-
Well deduced. Let's have a
Yes.
look.
Mr. Corbyn, what are you going to do about the perceived anti-Semitism in your party? Mr. Corbyn, have you got any comment? Mr. Corbyn, what are you going to do about the perception that the party's anti-Semitic and the criticisms from Andy Byrne?
Hi, good morning. Very nice to see you.
Did someone change the code? Has there been a coup and no one told him? John McDonnell's in there.
Throwing his
Yeah.
clothes out the top floor
Yeah,
window.
get out. There's your cycling helmet.
And here's London mayoral candidate Zach Goldsmith demonstrating how you should handle tough questions from the media.
I'm a Bollywood fan, so anything with a Bollywood theme, I will lap it up.
You say you're a Bollywood fan. Do you have a favourite actor or a favourite Bollywood film?
Oh no, you're gonna. I wouldn't be able to. No, I'm not going to give you one. I can't think of a favourite.
Think of a single Bollywood film or actor.
I can't think of a favourite. I love almost everything about Bollywood. I love the atmosphere. I love the colour. I love the excitement. I want as much Bollywood as possible here in London.
I love him trying to coast it. It's that Boris thing. Nothing.
Back to Jeremy Corbyn, who has finally managed to get to grips with some modern technology. Here's his latest post on Snapchat.
The eyes have it.
I think that's the pin code cam. That's the shot from...
It looks like he's canvassing his own headquarters and they don't want him. No, thank you, we're voting Tory.
Labour launched an election poster on Tuesday. Do you know what the slogan was?
Please.
We're all a little bit racist.
The slogan on the poster was, elections are about taking sides, Labour is on yours. So no matter who you are or what you want, Labour agrees with you. Which is reassuring, but also, unfortunately, totally meaningless. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull was recently ridiculed for going with the slogan, continuity and change. Bonus point for anyone who can come up with a more meaningless slogan than that.
Together we're apart.
Vote with your heart, not with your head, but most importantly, with your hand.
What have the Conservatives been accused of spending money on that they shouldn't have?
Blue sausages.
They've been accused of bussing campaigners into marginal constituencies and putting them up in hotels during the 2015 general election and not declaring the expenses. Which could have been bad news for the career of former Conservative Party chairman Grant Shapps. But luckily, he already had to resign over a completely different scandal. Boris Johnson's term as mayor of our capital city has come to an end after 8 years. So let's take the opportunity to look back at his time in office with a Goodbye Boris buzzer round.
Is there any special music? No?
We'll put some in after.
OK, fine. I'll pretend I'm dancing to it.
That'll cut in seamlessly.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Yes, Ian?
I am thick as...
These contraceptive devices don't work.
What about this one?
Who's the jerk?
I made a documentary with Arnie when he was still a bodybuilder, and he did a film called Stay Hungry, and he came over to Britain, and I took him to Gordon's gym in Plumstead, and somewhere there's a picture of me sitting on Arnie's arm.
We've actually got that photo of you with Arnie, Janet. Let's have a look.
Very embarrassing.
Was he charming?
He was great. On the way to the gym, we had to stop at a Greg's, and he ate 24 donuts.
I love Greg's donuts. I love you have Jammy Dodgers, I have World Championship coming up.
What about this next one? Ian?
Going for the Bollywood vote.
He was actually trying to appeal to Chinese voters. Got it completely wrong.
He was visiting a Hindu temple in London.
Was it the Neasden Temple? I think it was that huge one.
Right. Doesn't say on my card, so I'll just say yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll edit it out if it's wrong.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
What about this next one? Yes, Ian?
That's Boris having trouble with his zip. Thank you. He got trapped on a zip wire.
Yes.
And anybody else, it would have been the end of his career. But with Boris, everyone went, look, he's got stuck on a zip wire. Isn't he brilliant?
The time he was up there coincided with London running very smoothly.
He looks like a UKIP supporter bauble.
And finally... Sorry. No, that's not Boris at all. Although a lot of people did notice the similarity when the picture was posted on Twitter by an account called Whores of Yore.
I think that's a man in drag, actually, the more I look at it.
Well, that was sort of the gag. Yes, this is Donald Trump's triumph in Indiana. This week, Donald Trump made the bizarre claim that Ted Cruz's father was linked to the assassination of JFK. A foolish move, even by Trump standards, as it reminded people that if all else fails, presidents can be assassinated. Donald Trump has demanded an apology from David Cameron for describing Trump as divisive, stupid and wrong, failing to realise those are the very qualities David Cameron values most in a cabinet minister. And meanwhile, Britain has been in the grip of local election fever. This recording is...
No, it hasn't.
Well, it had a mild temperature, perhaps.
Yeah.
As the polls opened, Labour mobilised thousands of volunteers who were soon pounding the streets, knocking on doors, desperately trying to find Ken Livingstone, sedate him and lock him in a cupboard. So, at the end of that round, 2 points each.
Hooray!
Very good. Now, on to round 2.
Yeah.
And this week, we are delving into some of the latest breakthroughs from the cutting edge of science and technology.
Oh, yes.
So, let's fire up the Newsatron!
That looks like the cheapest prop from Doctor Who.
Oh, we had cheaper ones than this. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here we go. Yes, Paul.
Eric Pickles has been reincarnated.
It's Labradors are Flabradors. They're the fattest pets. Boffins say that poor old Labradors have got a genetic predisposition. Every time they see a plate of food, they have to eat it and they have to beg for food the entire time. So that makes them exactly like 75% of the British population.
Is absolutely the correct answer. After testing their drool, nice, scientists at Cambridge University found that 25% of Labradors carried a faulty gene that means they're programmed to overeat. What's the upside of this gene? How can you exploit it?
How can you exploit fat Labradors, essentially? Make young offenders carry them. It's a Labrador for you, me old son. I can't think.
Well, it makes them easier to train.
Does it?
Yes, because they're more motivated to work for a titbit. Shall we have a look at a Labrador recovering after a gruelling training session?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Sounds like Boris Johnson telling his wife we can't remember where he stayed last night. That's not somebody round the corner with a vacuum cleaner, is it?
Labra snore.
Labra snore, there we are. That's why he's the editor of Private Eye.
Yeah. Hoping for the sun job. Yeah.
Experts studied drool from 310 fat dogs. If you want to collect drool from a fat cat, that's normally on Kate Moss's neck after a Philip Green party. According to the research, Labradors are obsessed by food, as opposed to other dogs who will only eat high-protein food, all other food, and sick off the pavement. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's the next one. Ian.
Well,
Oh, no, sorry.
It was Phil.
We get mixed up a lot. Top boffins have said that the borrowers could never happen. Because of scaling that would happen with shrinking a human down, the surface area wouldn't be right and they'd lose too much heat, they wouldn't be able to maintain their heat, and they'd just freeze to death and they'd all be blind and deaf. I found that really funny.
That's exactly right. This is news that scientists have proved that if a human was the size of one of the characters in The Borrowers, they wouldn't be very well. Phil, you did computer engineering.
Mechanical engineering, did some computer stuff, yeah.
OK. Does inter-oral time difference mean anything to you?
Well, that's what we got up to on the weekend.
It's the adjustment your brain makes for sound to reach the left and right ears, and if you were that tiny, it'd be totally out of whack. Would anyone like to be a borrower for a day? Does that appeal to you?
No. Does it appeal? No.
Not now you've heard about the inter-oral time difference.
No, exactly. I won't be able to hear what people are saying, and your heart won't work properly. Yeah, no, it's no good.
With current interest rates, no thank you.
They're very low, actually.
Yeah. I should research before I come on this show.
Finally, despite what these scientists might be claiming, how did a real-life borrower nearly miss out on a job this week?
There aren't any real-life borrowers.
After a typo in his job application,
Yes.
a Mr. O'Neill had to get a doctor's certificate to prove that he wasn't 17 centimetres tall. Which worried his new employer, as this meant his body mass index was 146,000. Fingers on buzzers, teams, here we go.
Snoring.
Yes.
They found a cure.
I thought it was euthanasia.
It is indeed the news. Scientists have discovered a revolutionary new cure if your partner snores, which involves taping their mouth shut while they sleep. Also, a handy solution if you're just tired of them being alive. According to the Daily Mail, scientists have developed a new anti-snoring device which is essentially a sticky patch. Surely the last thing you want in bed is a sticky patch. I can wait.
Loose women's on.
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Yes. Yeah, we must.
There's no bicycles in heaven. There are bicycles in heaven.
Listen, a guy designed the world's first hover bike.
There you go, that's right, yes. Yeah. An amateur inventor called Colin Furze has built a working hover bike in his garden shed.
Essentially, it's a couple of drones, isn't it? He's got.
Yeah.
Is it a bike, though?
He's so pleased to be alive.
You think that's a glimpse of the future?
No. Essentially, this won't catch on because it's a stupid thing.
Yes, this is the news that an amateur inventor called Colin Furze has built a working hover bike in his garden shed. Furze told Sky News, "I built something with no wheels, no steering, no brakes. It's got 2 accelerators and it doesn't even have a seat." And he was instantly offered a job by Uber. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Is it something to do with his phone?
It is, yes.
He's holding his phone. Is it an app?
No, it's not an app.
Is it people are crossing the road without looking, so that hence the days they're going to put traffic lights on the floor?
You've worked it out, yes, very good.
Is that what it is? Brilliant.
This is the news that a town in Germany is putting traffic lights in the pavement so people busy texting won't get run over. Yes, this is the German town of Augsburg, which has installed traffic lights on the ground to stop texters wandering onto the tram tracks. To warn pedestrians, there are 16 red LEDs embedded in the pavement, and to make sure the Germans spot them, they are the size of a beer mat and the shape of a sausage. Which means, at the end of this round, Paul and Janet have 4, Ian and Phil have 5.
Yes.
Yes. Very good.
Time now for the odd one out round. It's just one between you this week. Your 4 are Sir Philip Green, John Virgo and Jim Davidson, Sir Winston Churchill and Cavity Sam.
Is it yachts?
Nope.
They all have a heart, except Sir Philip.
John Virgo was told off for swearing live during snooker.
You're right, John Virgo was caught out during the snooker championships. It wasn't John's fault. The microphones were left up and, crucially, someone was still awake, so... he can't be blamed. But that's not the right answer. I'm swinging it back across.
Can we have a clue?
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
They've all had board games made of themselves.
Is nudging very close to the correct answer. They have all had a board game apart from...
Sir Philip Green.
Is the correct answer. They've all featured in a board game, apart from Sir Philip Green, whose businesses appeared on a specially made Monopoly set given to him by his wife Tina on his 50th birthday.
That's brilliant.
According to the Sunday Times in 2003, the names of the London streets have been replaced with those of Sir Philip's retail companies like BHS, Miss Selfridge and Topshop on the gold-edged Monopoly board.
Is that corner square still there, where it says go to jail? Go directly to jail. Do not take a knighthood.
The Parliamentary Committee on Pensions has insisted that Sir Philip Green must meet them to face questions. How's he reacted to that? What has he done?
He has agreed. He has a terrible greed.
Jim Davidson and John Virgo featured in the board game spin-off from the TV show Big Break. A point if you can sing the scene.
For 2 points, I won't sing it. I can't really remember how it went, I'm afraid. My knowledge of trivia doesn't always extend that far.
It's
what
only
was it called?
a game, so put up a real good fight.
Is it Captain Sensible?
Snookering you tonight. Big Break! Thank you.
You're seriously giving him a round of applause?
Well, he's not begged for it, did he?
Yeah, cravenly. Now, according to Wikipedia, the show was renowned for its light-hearted and comedic tone for 7 reasons. One of these was the chemistry between Davidson and Virgo. And that's it. The other 6 remain a mystery.
The Winston Churchill board game, I played that as a boy.
Oh, yeah.
Took 5 years. We got there in the end.
You played it on the beaches, didn't you?
We did.
Anyone have an idea of the rules?
Are you leader of Britain during the World War II?
Well, kinda.
Do you just make mean quips to fat women? Is that...
It recreates the tension and drama of the conferences between Churchill, Roosevelt and Stalin towards the end of World War II. One review states, a session will require a minimum 3 hours plus for the tournament game and may take a whole day for all 10 conferences.
What, so you go through the lot, do you?
Yeah.
Yalta, Potsdam, all the way through?
Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic. I just can't wait. Come on, get on with it.
How have game makers added extra jeopardy to Churchill, the board game?
Do you drink at the same time?
They have a card
Yes.
that means Churchill has a heart attack. Stalin's staff members are liquidated, and FDR might simply die. There's also a new app being launched of Churchill Solitaire. And interestingly, the app was devised by 84-year-old Donald Rumsfeld. Yes, that one. Although what he'd actually said to staff was, I want a nap. Cavity Sam was the name given to the character on the table in the game Operation. What are the rules in Operation?
You have to remove certain important parts until the NHS is dead.
The BBC also released a Doctor Who version of Operation, where you operate on a Dalek. Wish I'd had a cut of that. I could be doing Shakespeare tonight instead of this shit.
It wasn't shit before you got here.
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Bottleship Magazine.
Yes.
The magazine of the European Association of Ships in Bottles. You'll get into it, but you won't know how. And we start with Zoo will let you what for $10?
Tickle a tortoise.
Kiss a panda or something like that.
No.
Shoot the animals.
Shoot the animals for $10? What sort of business plan would that be? We ain't got any animals, but we got 40 dollars here.
Zoo will let you name a cockroach after your ex. For $10. Next, outrage as what replaced by piece of cardboard.
Family planning advice.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry, how do you think I feel?
It is Russia's eternal flame. Yeah. One of Russia's commemorative eternal flames was replaced with a cardboard cutout, hoping no one would notice. Here it is. Next, Bottleship editor Alan Rogers just assumed everyone what?
Everyone knew the secret. Everyone was gay. On television. Which is more or less the truth.
He just assumed everyone was using blue tack.
That's a good birth control device.
Blue tack?
Instead of cardboard.
Does it work?
It's worked for me.
Do you need a hand getting off that chair afterwards? Just being a gentleman.
The BBC do not recommend blue tack.
Are
Other sticky contraceptives are available.
Yes, in Bottle Ship magazine, Alan Rogers explains at great length how useful blue tack is in constructing a ship in a bottle. Alan is well known for his love of proverbs. There are good ships and wood ships, and ships that sail the sea. But the best ships are friendships, and may they always be. Yeah. He said to an empty room. And finally, thanks to what, milkman makes a comeback.
Milk! In bottles. Milk in bottles.
Yeah, in trendy parts of London, they want milk in bottles because it's somehow real.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks to London hipsters, milkman makes a comeback.
Yeah.
Yes. Hipster milk comes in skimmed, semi-skimmed and full twat.
It's perfect for that.
We got there.
So, the final scores are...
Yeah.
It's a draw, 6 points each! On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Phil Wang, Paul Merton and Janet Street Porter. And I leave you with news that at a stand-up comedy festival in Gloucester, dozens walk out as Britain's edgiest comic crosses the line once too often. In Westminster, after another U-turn, David Cameron is spotted looking for new policy ideas. And as the British archery team unveil their squad for Rio, they begin to regret that Vivienne Westwood was asked to design the official Olympic kit. Good night.
Brilliant BAFTA award-winning Have I Got News for You, back on BBC One Friday night at 9:30. Graham Norton here next tonight with Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson and John Malkovich.